are a part of a maintenance team, then this video is for you. Today we're going to be looking at a topic that is often overlooked during work order creation on SAP PM. Now, whenever we have breakdowns or we have planned activities to be carried out on particular machines, it could be notifications that have been raised or tags that have been raised. There are always best practices in work order creation. But sadly and painfully, because of the particular rush on a particular breakdown, we tend to overlook these basic best practices on SAP work order creation. Yes, there is a basic best practice for work order creation on SAP PM, and I am going to be taking you through these basic best practices so that next time when you want to create a work order, you are very sure that you are creating a compliant work order on SAP PM. Number 1, your work order description. What do you call your description? Your description can be able to tell whoever that this particular machine broke down and this is the particular issue that is going on that machine. So at a glance, I should be able to know what the particular failure is all about. So when you are describing your work order, it is advisable that you start with the particular machine that the work order is associated to. And then you go further by explaining the particular issue that is going on that machine. One thing that we have to know about the work order creation is this. When you are describing a work order for a breakdown, you should make sure that your description matches the particular breakdown. And when you are creating a work order for a planned maintenance, then you should make sure that the particular description matches the planned maintenance. For instance, you have a sudden bearing failure on a particular machine. Now, when I want to describe the particular work order, I will not go straight into saying replacement of bearings on machine. No. What I say on my description is sudden bearing failure on a machine. So at a glance, you should be able to describe to someone that this particular issue is a breakdown. If the particular work is a planned maintenance, by your description, you should be able to describe that this particular job is a planned maintenance. Number 2, your work center. When creating your work order, it is very important to take note of the particular work center. Make sure that whatever it is that you are creating is associated to the particular work center of your plant. Number 3, priority. Now, this is a particular issue that has to be addressed. Based on the type of work order that you are creating, it is advisable that you take note of the priority of the work order. If your work order is a breakdown, then you're very certain that that particular work order cannot exceed 1 day. And so your priority goes with 1 day. On SAP, we have priorities for 1 day, 7 days, 30 days. So you have to choose your priority based on how you want to plan your maintenance. These are audit issues that you have to pay attention to when creating your work order. So if I'm working on a planned maintenance, depending on how long I want this maintenance to be planned, I could put 7 days or 30 days. But for my breakdown, my priority should be able to let someone know that yes, this is a breakdown by selecting 1 day. Number 4, basic start and basic finish dates. Now, these are dates that always cause some kind of confusion. We have 3 dates. We have the basic start dates, we have the basic finish dates, and then we have the malfunction dates. When you look at your malfunction dates, your malfunction date is specifically the particular date that you created that particular order. So if I created my work order on the 4th of April, automatically my malfunction date is 4th of April. Now, here goes my basic start and my basic finish date. I created a particular work order on the 10th of April. That becomes my malfunction date. My basic start date becomes when I want to carry out the job based on the plan. Now, the basic finish date. This is where your priority comes in. If I created my work order on the 10th, which is my malfunction date, then it simply means that my basic start date, let me assume that I want to do the job on the 15th. So my basic start date becomes 15th and my basic finish date becomes 7 days from 15th because I set my priority as 7 days. So it means any other thing outside of 7 days becomes a backlog for that particular order. If I am choosing a priority of 30 days, basis 10th of April, which is my malfunction date, and I want to do my job possibly on the 15th, then it means that my basic finish date will be 30 days from 15th, which means that after 30 days, that particular work order becomes a backlog. If my priority is 1 day, then it means that my malfunction date and my basic start date becomes the same day, and my basic finish date becomes the same day also. So what you're trying to tell someone is that this particular order is a breakdown order and has to be closed on that same day. It is very important that we take note of these dates because it can help us to avoid unnecessary backlogs. Because if you know when your basic finish date for the particular work order is, you can be able to track it on your health checks anytime you come to work. Another point number 5 I want us to take note of is the activity type. Before you create your work order, you have to be familiar with the activity types for your work orders. You have to be able to know what type of work order am I creating. If I am creating a PM01, what type of PM01 am I creating? Am I creating a PM01101 or 103? So you have to take note of the activity types so that you can allocate the right activity type. Number 6, your damage code. What is your damage code? With your damage code, you can be able to explain to someone what particular issue happened, how did it happen, and what is the nature of the particular issue that happened. So if you don't put in your damage code, it means that you are creating a work order without a proper description. Now, mind you, your work order description is different from the damage code because your damage code goes much more deeper in describing the particular failure. Your damage code describes the particular issue itself and why did that issue occur. Could it have been because of stress? Could it have been because of fatigue? Could it have been because of impact? So these are points that we have to take note of in the creation of work order. The last but not the least is your system status. You have to pay attention to your system status anytime you are creating a work order. Your system status gives you a status, a message at a glance of what is going on your work order. If I committed a material, which is a component on the work order, and possibly that particular component is out of stock, error message that would pop up. So when you look at your system status, you can see what is going on from when I created to when a material is committed, even to when that material is not available. I can be able to see those things on my system status. The functional location. It is very important that you input your functional location because that is where the particular cost will be incurred. This is why you have to make sure that you input the right functional location. For every machine that is maintainable, there is a functional location that has been described for it. So you have to make sure that the particular functional location that you input on your work order is related to the particular failure that you're having. These are points that we have to take note of during work order creation. These are work order best practices that would enable you create a seamless work order without audit hitches.